Hello there, world of tankers, and welcome to the channel. I'm your host, Droodles Blitz, and in today's video, I'll be playing in the worst tier 10 voted by you. I made a community post yesterday, and the question in the community post was you guys get to vote on what the worst tier 10 is. And I said the most voted comment is the one that I'm going to talk about. That is exactly what we're here doing. So we can see that there's a lot of different comments. I mean, there are a lot of comments here of a lot of different opinions. And there's a lot of recurring themes. The biggest one is super heavies. After the pen buff, it feels like they don't have armor anymore. Now, I think the U100 with the DPM gun is great because obviously it has DPM, so it doesn't rely on the armor as much, and the E100 armor was never truly amazing. Then you have something like the VK72, and again, high alpha, tungsten, it's still a really solid tank. The VK90 didn't really get affected either too much because the gun is really nice, it has combat stabilization, and it also features pretty good mobility for what it is. So there's only really one super heavy that I think most people are pointing towards, and it's this one, the Maus. It's definitely a rather tragic tank in the current state. The Maus on World of Tanks PC features a really solid gun in terms of its accuracy, 0.31 dispersion, it's got solid DPM at like 2,900, it's got 3,600 health. You don't get that in Blitz. So while the armor on the Maus on PC is just as mid, the difference is you have way more DPM and accuracy. Plus, calibrated shells doesn't exist on PC, so most heavies are at like 320 heat, meaning that the Maus's armor makes it a lot further. It's kind of funny how the Blitz Maus just doesn't have that. So that's one of the major votes, is basically the Maus. We also have the 62A on the least capable category. We have the Stritzvon K, and the Stritzvon's brought up quite a few times. We have the Stritzvon here, we have the Stritzvon here. Honestly, if you added up all the times people have said Stritzvon, probably quite a few. We also have the 50B. I don't agree with this at all. I think the 50B is one of the best tier 10s if you know what you're doing. And then there's a comment saying this one, there is no bad tier 10, only bad player. I do agree with that. For the most part, there's not bad tier 10s. But there are certain tier 10s that are worse than others. And I still think that obviously there is a worst of all the tanks in tier 10, even if it is still capable. So I don't think the Maus is a truly horrible tank. I think that if you know what you're doing, you can still do okay in it. But at the same time, I think at the current state, the Maus is, I agree, one of the least capable tier 10s out there. As I stated in my video a couple days ago, I believe that the Jagdpanzer E100 is the worst tier 10, at least for skilled players. I know there's a lot of people out there that disagreed with my opinion, but at the end of the day, it's my opinion. And I think that the Yag is essentially a Maus without a turret. I mean, yes, it does deal 800 damage per shot. Technically, tungsten over 900, which is really good. But the problems with the Yag are the fact it's too slow and too large to be effective if your team falls apart. And it's the same issue with the Maus. So I do agree that super heavies are the major problem in tier 10 right now. They just don't really do that much when mediums now have the ability to pen almost all super heavies frontally without really using much effort. The fact that in a super heavy you sacrifice everything for quote-unquote the armor, and yet it doesn't really seem to get you all that far. I mean, my Maus, for example, has 3,000 hit points running sandbags and enhanced armor, when I could just drive a Type 71 and get 2,600 health. Oh, great, my E100's pushing me out in the open, so I'm probably going to lose more health here. Thank you, E100, I appreciate it. Oh, no, I didn't, but what a frickin' 8, bro. Is it that hard to look at where we're driving? Like, bruh. Well, oh my god, this guy, bro. This guy. This E100's going to cause me to get an aneurysm. Either way, we can already see some of the issues with the Maus. Oh, great. Oh, that's very fun. What are we doing, bro? What are we doing in our E100? Like, I'm so confused. Bro doesn't know what he's doing, but the problem is it's gonna end up hurting me more than it's gonna hurt him. Because if I want to back up, look at what's happening here. Like, really, bro, really. What are we doing? Like, what are we doing? What are we doing? What are we doing? I'm just gonna keep backing up. I'm gonna keep pushing him until he moves. Uh-huh, yep. I'm gonna take shots for you, of course. Yeah, okay. These are real players, ladies and gentlemen. These are real players. I have no words. I have absolutely no words. All right, well, I'm gonna aim it on this Minnow. Ooh, that works even better. Minnow's dead. Okay. I care very little about this U100 player is what I'll say. I would not care if he died. I just... Sometimes teammates get me very frustrated, and when you have a teammate who's literally blocking you because he's so oblivious to where he's driving, then yeah, it's going to get me a little mad. Now, this is where the mouse does do a decent job. Because of the fact the vehicle has decent damage per shot at 460, and it has, you know, armor that is adequate enough to get bounces here and there, it's actually a decent holding vehicle. The problem is most of the games you play aren't based off of holding. They're based off of pushing, and why drive a mouse and you can drive, you know, an IS-7 with the same damage per shot, yet more mobility, basically the same DPM, and, you know, all these better capabilities in most situations. So we have the enemy 100 who pokes, and we get a nice shot tracking him. He misses his shot. We do have a 121 who is a bit of a threat, but I'm not going to worry too much about that 121 because this game should be a win, surprisingly. Even with our E100, that gave me some major brain rot. We should actually win this game. So our E100 is going to get a nice shell, and now he's going to do a great job blocking me. But there you go. We do get the pen out. And we're going to angle our tank up. We get a nice bounce from the enemy IS-4. Now we're going to push the IS-4 and mouse on their... Or not mouse, the IS-4 and IS-7. So, personally, I actually don't think the mouse is terrible. And we can see that here. Like, the armor, it's not great, but you can definitely get bounces with the mouse. That's a fact. Like, I've actually blocked a decent amount this game. Now we're going to shoot the IS-4. And we're going to do a decent amount as well. Over 3,900 damage. All that's left is the IS-7. And this wasn't actually a bad game at all. But you can already see some of the issues that you might face in a Super Heavy. First of all, you are very slow, which means getting into position, you are almost always going to be outplayed by the enemy heavies. The Badger, the U100, the enemy IS-7 and IS-4 were all in position by the time I simply got to the crossing. And that meant that I couldn't ever move up. I simply had to hold that line the entire game. Then we had the problem of this player. Oh my god, El Bozo. I don't even know what we're doing there. I can understand with 1,100 games making mistakes. What I can't understand is specifically driving behind your teammate, pushing him, and literally just not helping me at all. Like, give me some room, bro. If you had COVID, you would have given it to me 10 times over, like licking a doorknob, bro. It's just, it's wild when you have teammates. He's destined to fail. I'm gonna tell you that. But point being, the mouse, we already saw some of the issues with it. The biggest problem I have is just that it's too slow. I think that there's a couple ways that Wargaming could buff this tank that would make it a lot more capable. The first is give it a more accurate gun. It's needed a more accurate gun for a while. As I've said in my tier list, I would like it to have 490 alpha, and it would be able to outtrade a lot better, which would allow it to be obviously much more capable. But the other thing that you could do to the mouse is give it more hit points or armor. These are all very different things that you could do. More hit points, you know, it's remove stupid sandbags, give the tank 3,500 health like World of Tanks PC. Then it would actually feel, sure, maybe the armor's not the best, but the armor's not bad on the mouse, it's just not great. But if you have 3,500 health and people have to load gold to reliably pen you, it means that your HP goes a very long way, which obviously means the mouse would actually be a rather decent tank at just surviving. The problem is with the mouse currently is that it doesn't have a lot of HP for the amount of armor that it features. As I said, I can drive any other heavy, like a Type 71, and have 2,600 health, which is only literally a 100 or like a 300 HP difference to my mouse right now. And I could technically get my mouse to 3. Oh, great. There goes my full health XM. Okay. This is what I mean, though. Like, by the time I get in the position, the game's already over. Like, it's just, that's just how it is, right? I can't do anything about the enemy 183 because obviously this tank features the worst camo values in tier 10. It also has one of the most inaccurate guns in tier 10, making it very hard to actually hit your shots. So already in this game, I'm down 2 tanks. I haven't even gotten a shell out or the opportunity to get a shell out. And that's the issue you'll run into with this tank, is it's just so slow that by the time you've already, tried to do something, it might be over. So we're aiming on the K91. We get a 435. We can see the enemy E5 and WZ trying to shoot me, but I'm just not giving them the opportunity to do that. We're aiming on the K91, and we get the clear. So not too bad. We're going to reload again. We got a couple seconds left on our reload. The problem is we're going to have a 140 on me. We're going to have an E5 on me. I can't do anything because this is obviously not a vehicle that has gun depression to work hull down ridge lines. So if I try to go up against that E5, most likely he's just going to sit there hull down and bleed me out every time I try to do something. So instead, I'm going to ignore all of that and, well, I don't... Oh, great. We got the Foch over here. Okay, let's aim it on that Foch. And nice shell. 575 into his track. I mean, that's obviously not half bad, but game's already over. And once again, this is average mouse gameplay here. It's just... It's too slow to be a big enough impact in the battlefield. And now that I've spent most of the game trying to conserve my health, I'm going to lose it all at once by a Foch, by an E5, by a 140, all shooting me. So, yeah, I don't know, man. It's disappointing to drive a tank like the Mouse because it just doesn't do anything when your team sucks. And that's entirely the problem with the tank. I mean, look at my team this game, for example. They were absolutely dookie balls. But what am I supposed to do to counteract that? At least if I'm in a medium, I can play aggressive and get up on that ridgeline and try and hold the enemy mediums off and stop that E5 from pushing up there. If I'm in a tank destroyer, I can stop the enemy from going around wide. It's not like I did awful. I did 3,300 damage. I blocked over 2,000. But look at my team. 3 zeros. I had a 50 TP, we got 1 shot out, and a 183 that pen too. The 4005 wasn't actually too bad. He was overlooking the one side of the map, but this is just a great example. I'm in a tank that has no mobility, and I'm forced to the whims of my team's suck. And because of that, I'm the one who gets punished because I can't do anything to counteract. Now, would this game have been a win in any other vehicle? Probably not. But I would have felt like at least I was putting in a bigger impact than simply driving over to the medium flank in a super heavy, watching my XM die and seeing that I can't push that side, then turning to the other side and already having tanks above me trying to shoot me. It's just... That's the problem. The Mouse, as I said, not a bad tank. I do pretty well in it with a 71% win rate, actually. I don't think the Mouse is the worst tier 10. I think that it is a very, very tricky tank because of the way that it's slow. But as I said, I personally think the Jagdpanzer is the worst tier 10, at least for me, because it doesn't have a turret. It has 1,000 less health than the Mouse, and it features similar mobility. This tank has the struggles of a Mouse, but without the HP, without the turret. It actually has the same DPM as well. The Jagdpanzer has 2,740 damage per minute, and a Mouse just running Gunrammer can sit at around the same 2,700 DPM. So I think the Jag personally is the worst tier 10. I don't think the Mouse is truly terrible, but I do think that it needs some buffing, mainly in either the hit points, the armor, or the alpha. Any one of those three could allow it to be quite a bit more official, but yeah, let me know in the comments what you guys think. I'll see you all in the next one. Bye-bye.